This is a special event. It is the Heisman Trophy of defense. It is the award that gives back to a side of the ball that doesn't get as much glory. Thank you, Charlotte.
What a high level of excellence Bronko Nagurski brought to the game. He's an inspiration to anyone who loves the game of football.
My football story is not about playing for the Carolina Panthers. My football story is from the time I was 5 years old, all I ever wanted to do was play for Wayne Hills High School in northern New Jersey.
I was a part of something, and the purpose of what we were working for was greater than any one of us.
Come out every day to compete, and the only way we can get better is we, compete against each other hard.
It's important to note that sometimes the signs that we ask for are right there in front of us. Win or lose, there was always a message in there. It's about what we do with the adversity we face.
You can have a dream, but you better be prepared for that opportunity.
I want to thank you all once again for the millions of dollars that you have contributed. The money that you provide enables multiple sports to benefit.
It's a lot of hard work. I mean, it's nothing is given. I mean, you have to earn everything.
Honored to be here today. You do such wonderful work. The funds you raise for scholarships around the area, that's wonderful.
A very heartfelt thank you to members of the Touchdown Club for your support of 16,000 plus students who you all are impacting annually. Studies show that GPAs and graduation rates are higher, absences and dropout rates are lower.
What I've learned in my life is you can accomplish anything in this world. If you want to do something bad enough, you'll find a way.
But it's important that everybody in this room and beyond understands that it starts with us. You see these kids on the come up, you gotta let them know.
Football was a gladiator sport. Only gladiators play football.
Tonight, you're going to get a glimpse of excellence of our finalists and what they have brought to this game. Their dedication, passion, and brute strength, along with their ability to make key plays during crucial moments in big games.
Always compete. In everything you do, whether it's in your job, competing is a part of life.
The guys you meet now, the guys you've been to war with, keep them close to you, because guess what? That's going to be your life support system for the rest of your life.
I'm always tell myself, honor the ones that paved the way before me, and then leave a legacy for the ones that came after me. And for me to have this opportunity to win this award, it'd be a part of my legacy. And I feel like it's what's a part of your legacy that makes you a legend, and I want to be legendary.
If you're doing your job, you'll be okay. But I do say that with, enjoy the journey, enjoy the process, because it is the maker of who you are.
I had a high school coach who used to always tell me, Peyton, you got to learn to be amphibious. You got to learn to throw left-handed. I think he meant ambidextrous. I never asked him, but it was too late to become amphibious at that point.
I'm telling you, education was never talked about in my family. I never would have gone to college if it hadn't been for my high school coach. And that's the reason that I got into coaching.
Football is a game about sacrifice. That's why I think everybody's drawn to the sport.
And then I just ultimately said to myself, control what you can control. And that's going back and being the best teammate I can be, doing my schoolwork, and just being the best student I can be.
And I think football is a great unifier. I think football can bring people together.
And I thank you again for your contributions to this great cause. And just think about what we can do if we keep working together.
Growing up around the game, I have a deep and abiding respect for those who have paved the way. Bronko Nagurski was a true pioneer of our game.
Good afternoon. If you could please take your seats and start enjoying lunch, that would be great. My name is Justin Kutcher. I want to say welcome once again to the Charlotte Touchdown Club Carolina Panthers Kickoff Luncheon. We truly appreciate all of you being here. For me, it's great to be back here. For those of you who don't know, I make my home here in Charlotte. I've been lucky enough to MC this event many times. And the last time I was here, as a matter of fact, we had the Hall of Fame linebacker Patrick Willis. And I said to Patrick, I said, dude, it looks like you could still play. And the Panthers could use some linebackers. You want to come back and play? He said, if Luke comes back, I'll come back. Well, guess who we have here today? Just saying. We may have to ask the question to Luke Kuechly. Want to say thank you to our sponsor today, Pinnacle Financial Partners, also our media partner, that's Radio 1 Charlotte. Obviously, we couldn't do all of this without your support, and we truly appreciate it. I say this all the time, but one thing I know is keep things short and sweet. Let's get to the good part. So with that being said, I'd like to call up the Charlotte Touchdown Club president, Mr. Josh Schlechte, to say a few words.
Good afternoon. I don't know about all of you guys, but this is like Christmas morning to me. Like, you know, football's back. Got NC State and ECU tonight. Fans. Got some top 25 matchups this weekend, you know, from the banks of the Olentangy. Texas versus Ohio State. OH. There we go. And tonight with who we got? Clemson, LSU. A little bit of a confusing game, but a good game. Go Tigers. Who you pulling for? It's in Death Valley. We'll figure all that out. Sunday, you've got the Hurricanes and the Fighting Irish. The Catholics versus those football fans will know the rest. So it's a great weekend. Next Thursday starts the NFL, and we're in full effort at that time. So thank you all for joining us. And to kick this off, today's Panthers Kickoff Luncheon. The Panthers have been fabulous sponsors for us for 30 years running. And it's an honor to have one of the greatest defenders in the NFL, Luke Kuechly, here with us today. Don't forget to reserve your seat for the December 8th Bronko Nagurski with banquet highlights of the keynote speaker, the Mohawk, Brian the Boz Bosworth, Master of Ceremonies, Adam Zucker, Legends Award honoree, Ron Rivera, Cal Berkeley, class of '83, legendary Panthers coach, presented by the Hertwig family, and Defender of the Nation Award by the Capital Group of Companies. Lastly, thank all of you, 75 plus companies, individuals. You're the reason why we're able to do what we do in the community, and give yourself a round of applause. Thank you.
Thanks, Josh. If we can now bring up for the invocation, the life coach and campus director of Fellowship of Christian Athletes at Wingate University, Shannon Powell.
May we pray together. Dear God, we trust that you hear our prayers. We know that we can trust you, since in your word it says in Psalm 33:4 that your word holds true. We can trust everything you do. Lord, today we ask for your mercy, especially for our friends and loved ones in Minneapolis this morning who are suffering and grieving the loss of loved ones, sweet children, Lord God, who were taken and harmed by acts of evil. We ask that you, Lord, show mercy on those families, even in Texas still, who are mourning the loss of their children through the flood. Lord God, please comfort their hearts. Lord God, we ask for your protection in this volatile world, especially for those who serve our public and protect our peace. Please shield those who willfully fight for our freedoms, both domestic and abroad. God, we ask that you would bless their families, even of all the fallen heroes. Lord, bring them comfort. We ask for your kindness, Lord, especially as we express gratitude for the blessings you rain down upon us, including this wonderful meal and the hands that prepared it today. Lord, we thank you for each sponsor that supports this great cause and for all in attendance today. Thank you, Lord, also for our beloved Carolina Panthers. Every coach, every player, every trainer, every staff, every cheerleader, Lord, any and all organizational staff. Father, we ask that you would bless them all, both past and present, with the peace of knowing that their participation in this great game of football is nothing more than a platform to allow the greatness of their Creator to shine forth in this world. Lord, I pray that you'd bless Luke even as he shares with us today. Father, finally, I'll make this simple request. On behalf of every man, woman, and child here today, please give us faith so that, as your word says in Proverbs 3:5, that we may trust in you with all of our heart and lean not on our own understanding, and in all our ways acknowledge you, and that you would make our paths straight. I ask these things in the name of the only one who lived and died to make us truly free, Christ Jesus alone. Amen.
Thank you very much, Shannon. Just want to remind everybody real quick, all those silent auction items outside that you guys were looking at, maybe placed your bids. The last bids will be taken at 12:20, so it's 12:11 right now, about 9 more minutes before those will be closed. The items that are not bid on before 12:20, they will be available after the luncheon's over for 10 more minutes, so you have a chance to get those afterwards. In the meantime, enjoy your lunch, and we've got about 15 minutes to scarf down that food before we have a lot of fun. All right, enjoy. Now, I know you guys enjoyed the salad, you enjoyed the chicken, you loved the dessert, but the reason you really came here was because you wanted to see and maybe meet one of your heroes. A guy who, honestly, has been a tackling machine at every level he's ever played at. I don't know what his Pop Warner statistics are, but I can tell you that as a junior in high school in Cincinnati, he had 147 tackles. The next year, as a senior, when they won a state championship, he had 130. And yet he was just a 3-star recruit. It's a question I'm going to ask him when he comes up here, but he chose to go to Boston College. Luke, I went to BU, so this might be a little bit awkward. At BC as a freshman, listen to this, 158 tackles. The next year as a sophomore, 183. And then as a junior, when he won the Bronko Nagurski Award, 191 tackles. Do the math real quick. That's insane. But it didn't stop there. He gets drafted 9th overall by your Carolina Panthers. And what does he do? His rookie year, he leads the league in tackles. Every single year of his career, he had over 100 tackles. And everybody that I ever speak to in the game of football, when they talk about some of the smartest and most instinctual players they've ever seen, his name comes up. His name comes up with the likes of a London Fletcher, a Chris Spielman, these guys who just picked things up, saw things, and they were natural leaders. His number 59 jersey, it's still worn all over town. When you go to the stadium, when you go to Bank of America Stadium, yeah, there might be some other jerseys, but I promise you 59, you'll see a lot of them. Every guy, while he was playing, wanted to talk to him. Every girl, while he was playing, wanted to date him. He is an incredible person, an incredible football player, and I think one day he's going to be wearing something else besides a blue jacket. Ladies and gentlemen, we're going to watch this video, and then we're going to say hello to Luke Kuechly.
Kuechly slams him down like Wahoo McDaniel. Oh, I love the way he plays. That's the way you come up and stick a man in the mouth. Kuechly, you are beautiful. That man's a tackling machine.
I agree with you. He is a tackling machine.
I call him Clark Kent, who happens to turn into Superman on Sundays.
As a rookie, Luke Kuechly led the NFL in tackles, including 12 for a loss.
Wow, Luke Kuechly again.
And the 2012 AP Defensive Rookie of the Year is...
Luke Kuechly. A year later, in 2013, he made first-team All-Pro and was voted the NFL Defensive Player of the Year.
Luke Kuechly sees it, smells it, the guards and tackles pulling. He's so instinctive.
I knew that was coming.
Kuechly backs up. Manning from a clean pocket. Into the air, incomplete. My goodness.
Kuechly reads the quarterback so fast and so well that you see plays like this.
They're going to want to cross the middle.
I saw that on tape this week. Once it went 4, I was like, I know what you're doing.
Here's to the left. Kuechly hit him. Knocked it free. Thomas Davis scooped it and ruled a touchdown.
About Kuechly, see how quick he is to read this play. You feel his tackles.
Throw it the screen pass. So says the gospel, according to Luke.
In 2014, Luke led the NFL in tackles again.
Cam Newton calls that kid Captain America. His name is Luke Kuechly, and he may very well be the best linebacker in the NFL.
A year later, he led the Panthers to an NFC championship.
He's picked again. Kuechly for the touchdown. Kuechly, who runs this defense. Yeah, I was sitting on it all day. He's a playmaker on the defensive side of the ball. He reads it, he drives on it, touchdown Carolina.
Yeah, you're pretty cool. You're pretty good at what you do.
And even though he missed a few games due to injury in 2016, Kuechly was as dominant as ever toward the end of his career.
Wherever the ball was, that's where you could find number 59.
Over his 8 years in the NFL, no linebacker recorded more tackles, pass breakups, or interceptions.
4-man pressure, and Wilson in trouble. Flicks it out of the backfield, picked off Kuechly. 10-5, touchdown! Oh, they're going crazy up ahead!
In January of 2020, Luke Kuechly announced his retirement from the Panthers.
Ladies and gentlemen, Luke Kuechly. Luke, thank you so much for being here. I was going to ask you, what's it like when you're on the field and everyone goes, Luke, yet here they do it here for you.
Hey, you know what? Playing in Carolina was so much fun. Mr. Richardson used to always talk about the number one most valuable member of the team is the fan. So I think any guy that's played in Carolina, spent any time here, especially guys that came from other cities that had an opportunity to play in Bank of America Stadium, know how special our fans are and how much fun we had, and playoff games and home games in Bank of America Stadium were a ton of fun. So when I talk to all my buddies, all we ever talk about is how much fun we had playing the game of football, and you guys are a big part of it. So first, I want to say thanks for you guys for making our experience playing in the NFL a ton of fun. You guys are a special group, and we're getting better every day over there on Moorhead Street, so we're looking forward to a good season.
I love it. I love it. We're going to have some fun here, just kind of going down memory lane with you, if you don't mind. Just talking about your career, as I said, I mean, from high school to college to the NFL, you had this instinct. Were you like that in Pop Warner? I mean, was it always that way?
You know, it's interesting. I get asked that question a lot, and I think I always loved playing the game. I watched a ton of football as a little kid, even when I was, 5, 6, 7 years old in first grade. I remember always waking up on Saturdays trying to get all my homework done, because I always knew that first game either started at 11 o'clock or at noon, and then you watch all the way through the end of the day to that Saturday night game, and you try to find ways to stay up late and watch as much football as you could. And I think from a young age, the more you watch the game and absorb and watch different offenses and different defenses and how people get to the football, I think you just start to learn more. And then I think it really started when I got to high school. The program that I played at Cincinnati in Cincinnati, Ohio, was St. Xavier High School. It was a high school that my grandpa went to, my dad, my uncle, my cousins, my brothers. And our high school football coach name was Steve Specht. He taught us a lot of life lessons, how to play the game, how to treat our family. But he also really started to instill the idea of preparation to me at a young age. Obviously, as a freshman in high school, he'd bring us in at lunchtime. And it was back when it was VHS tapes.
Yep.
And we'd bring our lunches in and we'd sit on a little box TV and he'd put the tape on TV and we'd watch the teams we were playing. And when you're a young kid, you're in there with all the older guys and you're just happy to be there. And you just listen. You don't say a whole lot and you listen and you understand what we're looking at, why we're looking at it. If we get this formation and this is the defense we're in, this is where they want to attack us. So I think early on as a little kid watching the game of football as much as I did, my mom loved football. My grandpa was a big football guy, so we kind of grew up in it. And then when we got to high school, you start to really understand the value of the preparation, how our defense matches up against an offense. And then once you get to college, and it's ramped up even more, and then you get to the NFL, obviously it's a whole different beast. So for me, I think it helped me a lot to watch it as a kid, and then I got to high school, that progression of preparation really started.
I want to follow up about the film, although first, when you were a kid, did you always gravitate towards defense, or was there offense as well for you?
Yeah, I got a great offensive story. So I always played offensive line. I didn't really run the ball
Offensive
hard.
line?
Yeah, I didn't run the ball hardly ever, and then I played on defense somewhere. It was my 5th grade year. I remember this to the day. We were at St. James White Oak. It was a high school, it was a little grade school in Cincinnati, and they wanted me to play quarterback. And I was like, I don't want to play quarterback. I did not like getting hit as a ball carrier. I didn't want to play quarterback. I didn't throw the ball very well. I didn't want to get hit because I didn't know where anybody was coming from. And so I remember they put me in and we ran a boot pass to my right and I faked the handoff and I rolled to my right and I'm waiting for the guy to run the over route. And it was a sloppy day outside. Uh-huh. And I just hear, and then I got smoked in the back. And I slid in my helmet across the ground. I fumbled. I looked at the coach and said, hey, I don't want to play quarterback anymore. He's like, all right, you can go back down and play. You can go play offensive line. And it's probably one of those things. There's not many kids that don't want to play quarterback. I was like, I can't throw the ball very well. I don't like getting hit. And everything's different versus you play offensive line, you play guard, you line up on the right side, and you step to the left. When it's a left run, you step to the right. When it's a right run, you go put your face on somebody, and that's easy. But getting hit, worrying about where everybody is, trying to figure out where the receivers are, I'm like, I don't want anything to do with that.
So instead, you're like, I want to hit people. When did you find out, like, you enjoyed hitting them?
I just didn't. When you run the ball, there's 11 dudes trying to kill you. When you play defense and you play linebacker, there's one guy assigned to block you, and that's it. So would you rather try to get hit by 11 dudes, or you want to play linebacker and there's one dude that's responsible to block you, and then you get the guy with the ball that only has one arm to hit you? Or you can play defense and there's monsters running around trying to rip your face off, and they have 2 hands and they're long and they're bigger and stronger than you. It's just kind of a bad recipe.
You are the very first player I've ever heard tell a coach, I don't want to play running back or quarterback.
Well, I think he's like, this kid is soft. Like, I'm good, man. I don't want to do that.
So, which seems so crazy because I think everybody in here, not one person would ever say Luke Kuechly is soft.
Oh, hey, I can tell you some stories. Don't worry about that.
Going to Boston College, you talked about the film study. What did you see? You said as a linebacker, there's one person assigned to you. You got to worry about that person, beat them, then go get the ball. What would you look for in that film study? What did you learn going to college that helped you propel you to have the immediate success in the NFL?
We had a guy named Wes Davis. Wes Davis was, how old was Wes? Wes was 2 years, three. I think Wes was 3 years older than I was. So I got to play with Wes for 2 years. He was a redshirt junior when I got there my freshman year, and then he was a redshirt senior my sophomore year. His locker he was number 45, I was number 40, so he was 5 lockers away. He was right next to me, great guy, smart, safety, great communicator, had a really good feel for the defense. He had been there the whole time, obviously at BC. And when I was a freshman, he's like, hey, come watch tape with me. I was like, perfect. I was playing Mike linebacker. I was playing Will linebacker at the time. Mm-hmm. and we'd watch tape, and he'd be like, hey, Luke, this is a big-time formation. We're playing Florida State, playing at home. It was Christian Ponder. They had some dudes on that offense, and he's like, hey, in this formation, if we're in this coverage, we've got an issue. This is our coverage hole. This is where we got a problem. We need to be aware of this. When this formation comes out, I'm going to give you a heads up, and I need you to make sure you're in this window. I said, perfect. And I was like, that's not going to happen. And the game rolls around. It's a night game. I'm juiced. I have no idea what's going on. They come out in a formation. We're in cover 4, and Wes gives me he's like, hey, we talked about this. And I was like, I have no idea what he's talking about. Yeah. And I give him yeah, gotcha. And they run the play. They catch the ball where Wes said it was. It was a 25-yard route, and Wes comes up. He's like, what were you doing? I was like, what are you talking about? He's like, that's what we talked about this week when we were watching tape in the DB room. And then I was like, oh, I got it. I get how you take everyone. It's the dumbest thing ever. The classroom to the field. Mm-hmm. Everyone says that, but it's so true. So basically, to answer your question, what I learned was it's important to understand how the offense comes out, what formation they're in, what kind of top plays they have, right? Say they have three top plays out of this formation, right? And we'll say they have 6. They have 3 run, 3 pass. And then the pass routes give us problems when we're in, say, cover 3. So if we're in cover 3 and they come out in this formation, I have to understand where my stress is in this formation, in this coverage. And that's how I would, to dumb it down, when I would go through my preparation, I would write all that stuff down, figure it all out, and then say, all right, in 2x2, 2 receivers on each side of the formation. If we're in cover 4, I have stress here. So then I play that situation out of my mind before I get on the field, before the ball gets snapped. And then when that situation pops up in the game, all right, hey, it's 2nd and 7, probably a passing down. We're in cover 4. They're in 2x2. We're playing the Atlanta Falcons. Julio Jones is lined up in the slot. That is stressful as all get out. I need to have a plan before the ball gets snapped to attack Julio Jones in the slot. So if I can do that during the week and by myself when I'm studying, when that situation comes up in the game, I'm not stressed. I understand, hey, here's my weakness, here's how I get out of it, here's my communication to the guys in the back end. I'm going to let TD know next to me, hey, Julio's in the slot, I might need your help here, and then the ball gets snapped and you just play that. And instead of showing up, this is another good add-on to this, in the preseason, you're physically tired from camp, but you're mentally tired.
Right.
That's the stressful part of training camp, is the mental fatigue. So you don't prepare as much for a game. And those games, in my opinion, were always more stressful than regular season games, because I never felt like I had as good of a feel, because I didn't prepare as much, because we're gonna play 12 snaps.
Yeah.
I need a mental break, so you get out there in the game and I don't like this. I better just try to figure it out on the fly, versus the regular season where you prepare, you study, you go through situations in your mind, and that situation comes up in the game. He might be a better athlete than me, but I have a plan for how I'm gonna attack him.
Did all you coaches and football fans right there just geek out? How crazy is all that? The fact that you can study and then process it in such a short time, that's what amazes me. And I'm very lucky. I get to play a lot of golf with London Fletcher, and we were just talking about, he started off as a weak linebacker, then he moved him to inside linebacker, to the Mike linebacker, and he's like, I love that, because you couldn't run away from me. He's like, if you're playing one side, they can run away. If I'm in the middle, you can't run away. I kind of get the sense that's what you're like too.
No, you know why I like playing Mike linebacker? Because there's less space. The scariest thing in the NFL is when you play on the outside somewhere. So Thomas played weak side linebacker, better athlete, faster, more burst, just a better athlete. So when you're on the outside of a formation, you get matched up on fast guys, running backs, receivers, really athletic tight ends, and there's nobody outside of you. It's just you and the sideline, and that's it, because the corner's gone. At Mike linebacker, you've got a Will, and you got a nickel back on the other side, and you can't really mess up that bad. So London looks at it from the sense of, hey, they can't run away from me, and I look at it in the sense of hey, I'm less scared, there's less space for me to mess up in. I'd rather sit inside and have guys on both sides of me.
Take me to your rookie year, and there's something about, you kind of said before that you just sat in the meeting room, video room, didn't say anything. Your rookie year, you come in 9th pick. You eventually take over that Mike linebacker position. How do you go from being quiet to being the leader?
Yeah, so it was an interesting situation in Carolina my rookie year. So the 3 guys on the roster were just monsters, right? Beast, perennial Pro Bowler, coming off an Achilles. Thomas, obviously everybody knows Thomas Davis, coming off his third ACL, right?
Yeah.
Third ACL. And James Anderson, who's coming off a career year, set a tackle record for the Panthers. And so then they drafted me. So it's like, how do you guys all fit? And I understand, like, I got drafted. So, like, I'm probably going to find a way to get on the field, right? That's just, if I am absolutely awful, they're going to give me a chance. So I kind of knew that. But then you walk into this room, and there's Beast that's coming back from an Achilles, TD's coming back from his knee, and then James, who had a great year. They're all trying to figure out, because most of the time there's only 2 guys on the field. How do we all fit, right? So you need to come in and be a good young guy. You need to shut up. You need to work hard. You need to ask good questions. And when you're in the game, don't mess up the older guys. And then if you do that and you start making a few plays, the guys are like, okay, yeah, show up on time, know what you're doing, and help the older guys. And that was my thought process coming in as a rookie. And the way that season went was all 4 of us were healthy to start the season. So we went down to Tampa Bay, and when we were in base, which was 3 linebackers, Thomas was playing the Sam, Beeson was playing the Mike, I was playing the Will. And then when we went to a sub package, there was only 2 guys. Beast was on, and then it was either James or Thomas. So my first game we played in Tampa, at Tampa, Doug Martin was a first-round draft pick out of Boise State by Tampa. So that was like kind of the matchup was your first-round pick, then it was me, Panthers first-round pick, Beeson's back, Thomas is back, James is coming back, obviously. And they ran this play, 10, 12 times. It's called lead week. And basically what happens is the fullback lines up in the backfield in the I formation, quarterback, fullback, running back, Doug Martin, Eric Lorig, that was his name, number 41. Remember this guy because he caved my skull in the whole game. And then the quarterback. And basically what happens is the guard and tackle block out, and they take the fullback and they run him right at your face. And I had never had that play run against me in college because I didn't play outside backer in college. And so Eric Lorig put his face everywhere he could have on me and drove me into the sideline and drove me off the ball and kicked my butt. And then I had some bad plays against Doug Martin. He caught 2 balls over me for like 45 yards. And I was like, this is awful. I remember walking out of the game and telling my mom, like, hey, Mom, I'll probably see you next week. Because I about played as bad as you could have played. And I remember there was one play that I remember I was having a bad day, just a bad day. And there's a play, it's a toss play, and they ran it to my right. And toss plays in college, that was my game. Like, run past the offensive lineman, make a tackle on the running back for 2 yards and feel so good. And I just remember they snapped the ball, and I'm like, all right, it's a toss. I start running, and I just see a blur run by me, and some guy just tattooed Doug Martin, John Beeson. And he got up and was juiced, and I was like, dang. Like, even when I knew what was going on, I didn't get to the football. So early on that year, I really struggled. Second game, we played...
Time out.
I'll tell you what, go watch it. It's from 2012, opening game of the season against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
Yes, and your recall is ridiculous, but you can't say you really struggled your rookie year when you led the league in tackles.
Well, we're getting to that. My second game, we played New Orleans. I played a little better in that game. The third game, we played in Atlanta. I didn't play a whole lot. In that game, John Beeson got hurt. And then I think we might have played, I don't remember who we played after that, but there was a game we played at home against Seattle. And Beast had hurt his knee, I think against Atlanta. So I had to slide in and play Mike backer because James and Thomas are both will linebackers, outside backers. So I remember they switched me over to Mike backer, which instantly, like, I see the game better as a Mike backer. It made more sense to me. I understand it. Angles to the football better. There's less space. I'm not stressed. And I remember walking from the locker room into the cafeteria. And it was Ron Rivera, Mark Carrier, which was our director of player development, and then Big Cat, Mr. Richardson. I don't know if any of you guys have met Mr. Richardson. he was a gigantic human.
I didn't know you called him Big Cat.
Big Cat, yeah. He's 6'3", big dude, played in the league, caught a touchdown pass from Unitas, right, whole deal. I'm turning the corner, and I look at Ron, and I look at Big Cat. I'm like, oh my gosh, he scares me. And I look at him, I say, hey, Mr. Richardson, what's up, Coach? Hey, Mark. And he looks at me, he said, you know what's happening this weekend, right? I said, yes, sir. I'm playing Mike linebacker. He said, yeah, you better not this up for me this weekend. So I looked at Ron, I looked at Mark for like a little backup, and they were just like, didn't say anything. I say, yes, sir. So when I moved to Mike backer, the game, at that point, it was probably 3 or 4 games in the season. It had kind of slowed down a little bit for me. I had a feel for what I needed to do, the physicality and the speed. Like, I had to have an adjustment for that. I had to make a conscious decision in my mind, it sounds funny, to be more physical. And you got to strike. Because in college, you might be playing against a kid that's 18, right? He's an 18-year-old kid, and I was 20 my junior year. So he's 18, I'm 20, I've been in the weight program for 3 years. He's fresh out of high school. Like, you can kind of give him a little, but when you get in the NFL, that dude's like a grown man. He's 30, he's been banging weights his whole life. Like, he is strong, he's mean, like, and he's coming at your skull, and you can't just like, it's not like you're playing patty cake with this dude. That guy it's for real. Eric Lorig, I'll never forget his name in my life. And I had to make a conscious decision as a young player in the NFL to be more physical. And you just gotta kind of figure it out. You get your butt kicked, and you can, it is when you're a young guy, you're like, I'm good. And until you see it for yourself and you get smacked a few times, you start to figure out, like, all right, like, it's a different game. So it was a progression. It was I give Ron and McDermott and all those guys a lot of credit for sticking with me, but those first couple games were a struggle.
I was going to ask you, who was that guy that was your welcome to the NFL moment?
Oh my gosh, I know exactly. Trust me, it's like imprinted in my skull. This is that first game I played at Mike linebacker against Seattle. So Russell Wilson was the quarterback, right? I trained for the combine with Russ. And then the running back was Marshawn Lynch, which I got stories about him too. I remember Russ, when he was young, he was a big scrambler. He could really run. And he broke the pocket. I'm in coverage, and he starts running. He crosses the line of scrimmage. I'm like, all right, I can come out of coverage. I can go make a play on the ball carrier. And he's running directly. He's running this way, and I've got a really good angle that way. So my angle is really good. He can't run away from me, right? And I'm like, great, I'm going to smack him, right? And I'm running, and Russ is staring at me. At the last second, he cuts this way, and I shift my glance, and Michael Robinson, he played quarterback at Penn State, but he was like a big, physical, thick ball carrier. He played fullback in the NFL, so he was like probably 230 pounds, thick, strong, dense, running full speed. And when I turned my head, I got all of Mike Robinson. And sometimes when you get hit hard enough, you don't feel it, and the first thing you think you see is like you're on the ground and you're looking up. And I smiled at him. He smiled at me. I don't think I was smiling. He smiled at me and just gave me a nod, and I was like, I can't really say anything. And so then, all that happens, and obviously Mike Robinson does a really good job on NFL Network, and he's everywhere now, and I've seen him a few times, and every time I see him, I give him a little nod, and he gives me a nod, and it's kind of like the things don't need to be said.
Yep.
Got you, Mike. So he got me. That was a good one.
So I love that. I want to know what player you think is saying, Luke Kuechly's the guy that got me. That was my welcome to the NFL moment.
Oh, man. I have no idea. I think, I'll tell you what, not for me, but Thomas Davis.
Yeah.
Oh, my gosh. He used to hit guys so hard. Like, I kind of feel bad for him. Like, he hit this dude. He hit this guy, Robert Turbin. So I remember this, 2014, they ran a screenplay to our left. Robert Turbin played for Seattle. He went to Utah State, like a big, booed-up running back. And they threw a screen to him, and it was one-on-one with him and Thomas. He tried to put his shoulder down on Thomas. Kind of didn't really work very well. He hit him so hard that when you hear somebody get hit in a game, when you're playing, that's how you know a guy got hit hard. It's because usually you don't hear a whole lot, but he hit him so hard, and Turbin put the ball on the ground and walked off the field. Another example of that, we played Philly at Super Bowl year, and it was when they had Ryan Matthews and DeMarco Murray. And both those guys, Matthews was like a little thicker, denser body, thick lower body. He had great speed, but he could really run through you. And DeMarco had that too, right? And they were both running, and you could tell that they had talked about Thomas that week, because they ran this little run play where they pulled the guard and center outside wide, and there was a lot of one-on-one tackles with backers and running backs. And early in the game, DeMarco tried to put his shoulder. It was like one-on-one, like DeMarco could have tried to shuffle him and make him miss, but you can see when guys are like, try somebody. You can see when they look them up, when they look you up, and then it's like, it's game on. And he looked TD up, and they ran, and one guy won.
And it wasn't Demo.
It wasn't DeMarco. And then I'll tell you what happened then is they ran the same play they ran on the other side. It was Ryan Matthews, and it was on their sideline. And he tried to put his shoulder down on Thomas, and he hits these guys so hard that they like crumple. It's like when somebody puts dynamite on a building and it falls on top of each other. It like accordions down. When you hit a guy that hard and they crumple, then you know it's like, and they both tried him. That was the best part. And like, for me watching, it's like, hey, like you picked the wrong fight. You should have tried that with me. You shouldn't have tried that with Thomas, because Thomas was so physical. He had so much snap. Like we always talk about 6-inch snap. Like the ability for a guy to like drop 6 inches and then come out of that. He had so much pop and snap and thump, and he was heavy. Like he was only probably 230 pounds, but he was heavy, like thump you. And it was impressive to watch him smack dudes. It was crazy. It's the best.
It's funny because DeMarco Murray was one of my broadcast partners doing college football.
He hit him so
I'm
hard.
going to ask him about that.
Oh, it's like, hey bud, you picked the wrong guy, man. Picked the wrong dude.
And then DJ Schlechte played with TD.
He was a Georgia Bulldog, trust
Yes.
me. I know about all the Bulldogs.
Yeah, okay, good. And I asked him, who was the best athlete?
Oh my gosh.
He said TD. I go, really? He goes, TD was drafted to compete against Michael Vick. That's the reason.
He was like a leopard. And like wherever Michael Vick goes, just go chase him and hit him. That defense was sick. They had Pep and Thomas. Imagine those two guys running after you.
Yeah.
We had to draft Thomas to tackle Michael Vick.
Right.
Like they drafted him because Michael Vick was such a problem. Could you imagine somebody like, hey, they drafted you because you guys can't tackle me?
Yeah, exactly.
If you're Michael Vick, you're like, dang, it's pretty sweet.
What was pretty sweet, you mentioned that run to the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
That whole year was a magical year. At what point in that year did you think we've got something special brewing here?
We had a good team in 2014, right? I mean, we struggled earlier in the year, and then we made some roster moves, and then that team really built momentum. Going into the end of that season, we were 3-8-1, and then we won the last 4 games, went to playoffs, beat Arizona at home. Carson Palmer was out, Ryan Stanton was out, Drew Stanton was out. They had, Lindley or somebody was their quarterback. And so we were good at the end of that season, went to Seattle, lost, and then came back. We made some additions that offseason, and the team coming into that OTAs had like a swagger to them. We had been to the playoffs in 2013. We were 12-4. 2014, we had a lot of the guys back, went to playoffs at the end of the year. Cam and all of our guys were getting older. Brought Peanut Tillman in that offseason. We had some gnarly old vets. Roman Harper was one of them, just grizzly, great dudes. We played our first game in Jacksonville, beat them. They were kind of yeah. And then we played we played Houston, I think, at home the next week, but they were still young. They were young. Then then we played New Orleans at home, but still just like teams that were like us, that were like doing this, right? And then we played Tampa in Tampa, beat them. I think that was Jameis's rookie year. And then we had a bye week. I think that's what it was. And then we came back and we played Seattle. At Seattle, in that place. We played them in 2012, lost. Played them at 2013 at home, first game of the season, lost. Played them 2014 in the playoffs and at home, lost. I think, 24. Yeah, I'm like, damn. Oh, no, they didn't beat us twice. They beat us once. I'm like, dang, man, we got to figure this out. So we go out there in 2015. They're really good. They're rolling. Russ, Marshawn, the Legion of Boom, Sherm, and Cam Chancellor, and what's his name? Thomas was back there. And it was back and forth the whole game. And then we were down with, 3.5, 4 minutes to play. We had to get and we had the ball. Driving down the field, this drive was awesome. And I think we scored, or we got a stop, then we went down and kicked a field goal, and then kicked the ball back to them. We had to get a stop. We got a big stop, and at the end of the game, we got the ball back with maybe 1 minute and 50 seconds left, and we go down, and they throw the ball to Greg in the end zone, and that place went quiet. It was like this quiet. The only people you hear in that whole stand, that whole stadium is us. Everyone's cheering, screaming, yelling, and that's the best sound in sports is when you're away and it's quiet, because that means you've done something good. They are quiet. They don't have anything to say, and we ended up winning that football game. And we got in the locker room, and guys were excited, but the feeling was more, hey, like, we're pretty damn good. We're pretty damn good. We went out to Seattle, beat them in Seattle, came back, beat them. All right, now that was a big moment for us. And then the next couple games were Philly, when they were good. Then we played the Colts with Andrew Luck. And after that stretch, we're pretty damn good. And then we just started spanking people, and it got really fun. And Cam started dabbing on people, and Cam would rip down people's signs pregame, and had all kinds of stories about that.
That's for another time.
Yeah.
The Super Bowl. Forget about the game.
Yeah.
The lead up to it. What is that anticipation like when you're a leader on the team and you are a film junkie? Is it like overload film watching because you have an extra week? What is that whole thing like?
The game can't get there fast enough. It's 2 weeks.
Right.
So you go through, then you got to ask yourself, how am I going to prepare for this week, right? Am I going to go through my normal process the week before and then go through the same process again? Or do you pare it back? Or how do you attack it? So, like you nailed it. You don't want to do too much, because I've done that before and it hurts you. And the thing that was really difficult about that game was Peyton hadn't played. He hadn't really played at all since, I don't remember, early in that season, because he hurt his neck, his shoulder, whatever it was. And Brock Osweiler had played a majority of the snaps, even through the playoffs. So, and we knew that, hey, Brock, the offense with Brock and the offense with Peyton is completely different. Mm-hmm. Right? It's still going to be Gary Kubiak. They can't run it from under center, though. Everything has to be from the gun, because that stretch, he can't get there. Brock could get there on the stretch run plays, but Peyton couldn't. So how does that affect us in the run game? How does it affect us in the pass game? How do we call the defense? So there was a lot of back and forth in those weeks leading up to that game, the 2 weeks leading up to the game, that we typically don't have, because if you're playing the New Orleans Saints, Drew Brees is the quarterback, this is the offense, this is what they're going to do, this is how they're going to attack us, and you've got a whole season of tape on him, right? Versus when they switch quarterbacks and the offense changes drastically from 1 week to the next.
Right.
But I just tried to take it slow, take my time, take breaks. I felt like we were very prepared for that game. And Peyton is fun to play against, because when you play Peyton, you got to look at it from his perspective, right? He is always trying to get into the perfect play. So he's looking for coverage, he's looking for what the front looks like, he's looking for where the linebackers are. So there's a lot of back and forth between where we line up, what we show him, versus what we're going to be on the snap. So we spent a ton of time of saying, hey, if we're going to have 2 safeties back, sometimes we're going to play with 2 safeties deep, and then sometimes we're going to start here, and then when the ball gets snapped, we're going to go here. And then sometimes we're going to start here, and we're going to show like we're coming down, and the ball gets snapped, and we're going to come back. And you knew the ball wasn't going to get thrown vertically down the field, so we can hold stuff longer. It was really fun to get ready for that game that week because you knew what they were going to look like, but you just hadn't seen it in 6-8 weeks.
With all that said, all that stuff about Peyton, who was the quarterback that you enjoyed the chess match with the most?
You know, I got spoiled, right? Because we played Drew every year, Drew Brees, and then we played Matt Ryan every year.
Yep.
So those two, and the reason I'll say Drew is because that offense was the same every year. Matt had different coordinators; they turned over a lot. But with Drew, it was always Sean Payton. And when I was playing in Carolina, we had different coordinators, Sean McDermott, and then we had Wilkson, then we had Eric Washington. The system was exactly the same. So when we played New Orleans, we knew what they were going to do, and they knew what we were going to look like. But the game is, where does the wrinkle come in? Where does the wrinkle come in? When do we do it? When do we call it? And you're going to win 2 or 3 times during the game, and then there's a few that, like we played them one year in it was 2013. We played them down in the Dome. It was a Sunday night football game. We were, I don't know what we were. We might have been 10-3. We were 10-3. We were rolling. We hadn't lost since Minnesota, which was like week 4 or something. We go down there, and they kill us. They're throwing touchdowns. They're playing that stupid song after they win. Stand up and get crunk. Every time I hear it, my head explodes. And they threw it. We had a pressure called, and they threw a route, and they caught it for a touchdown. And usually you come to the sidelines, and you're just like, damn it, like, who's supposed to be there? And the coaches kind of looked at us like, it's okay. Like, they got us. And then the same thing happens for us on defense, where we show something, and then we roll into a coverage, and they haven't seen it in 8-10 weeks, and you catch them, and you pick a ball off, or you get a free runner at a quarterback on 3rd down. So that's like the game is you got to be okay with sometimes they're going to win, right? And they know the rules of our defense, and we know the rules of their offense and what gives it problems and what stresses them. And so that was the fun part about playing Drew and Sean in New Orleans was they know us, we know them. Where does that wrinkle come in the game that gives us problems, or what do we do to give them a problem?
I could sit here and talk to you for hours, and I think everybody here could probably sit here and talk to you for hours and ask you questions. We're going to open it up to the fans here in a minute, but just hearing you talk and hearing your love for the game and your knowledge for the game, the fact that you had to retire, I'm going to say before you really wanted to, how difficult was it for you to walk away?
Obviously, it was super difficult, right? And it sucked, right? I wanted to keep playing, but I just knew I knew it wasn't the right thing. So the decision that I made, I had great peace with the decision. I knew it was the right decision. I never questioned the decision. I still don't. But yeah, it sucked, right? There's no other way around it. There's no other way to describe it. Like, I still wanted to play football. I still knew I could play at a really high level. I was still having a ton of fun playing football, but I knew that long term, this is not the best thing for me. And once I knew, I was like, all right, I got to be done. And I had great peace with the decision. Yeah, I mean, I love football. Yeah. I mean, I spend a lot of time on football still now, but playing the game of football is special. It's the best job in the world. You wake up, there's 53 guys in a team, there's 10 practice squad guys, you got guys in injured reserve. So what I'm getting at is there's 75 dudes that are between the ages of 21 and 35 that are just all the same, but they're all very different. They're from the north, south, east, west. They have different backgrounds. They're black guys, they're white guys, they're all over the place. You've got all your coaches and your trainers and your equipment guys and your strength staff. It's like a dude's club where all you do is show up and lift weights, play football, talk junk, eat food, and man, go play. It's the best job in the world. It literally is. And when that time is over, it's over, and you don't just get to kind of do it.
Yeah.
It's like you say you're done, and then, like, if I walk in the locker room now, all these guys are like, "What are you doing here?"
Yeah.
Like, get out of here. So I don't go in anymore. But I always tell everybody the best job after playing in the NFL would be a professional locker room guy. You don't get hit. You don't have to go to practice. You just hang out in the locker room and bust chops and have fun.